Hi guys, I think this question is about what are the study techniques when would I recommend when I study on my own. Okay. Let me brief you a quick one of what you would learn, I hope, in the universities. So in general, there are 3 domains that we would like to nurture and inculcate in you. At the end of the day, what we would like you to be is we would like you to be a holistic, wholesome, awesome person when you graduate. So the domains are cognitive, which are the thinking skills, skill-based, which are usually the practicals that you do in the labs, for example, and also values or attitudes that you would adopt, and adapt for yourself and for other situations as you encounter in life. In the thinking skills, what we have been doing so far in Malaysian education system in general, and what we tend to prefer as well. I was educated in Malaysian education system, at least for the primary and secondary schooling. So what we tend to do is that we tend to stress more on the, if you see, this is Bloom's taxonomy, this is what we use as educators or teachers in setting exam question, in designing learning activities in classroom and also online. So we tend to focus more on the later part of this triangle, this colorful triangle. So we tend to focus more on remembering and understanding. So these 2 are usually called the lower order thinking skills. But what we want is for you to be able to apply, to analyze, to evaluate, and eventually to create. So these are called the higher order thinking skills. And we're thinking that if you really want to produce a holistic, wholesome, awesome graduates, then you need to be able to do all the higher order thinking skills. At the same time, you think about it, you also have your learning preferences, your learning styles, and you also have different intelligence from other peers in the class or in the batch, or some people are better interpersonally, they are more sociable, they're more extrovert. Some people are actually more introvert, they like to do things on your own and so on. Some people are actually more visual. I am a visual learner, I have to say. So my slides, if you see in my class, are gearing towards pictures, more visions, more visual. And some people are kinesthetic as well. They're really good in sports. So if you really want to know more, if you really want to know what suits you, you need to actually just Google learning styles or Google for multiple intelligence, do some tests, and you should be able perhaps understand yourself better. So that would be one of my first things I'd like to share with you. So find out what kind of preferences, learning preferences that you like to do. These are the one that effective so far in my learning. So how I learn, the first one would be I have this 20 plus 5 formula, if you want to call it a formula. So I would spend 20 minutes focusing on one thing, just learn and on a particular topic or a subtopic, and then I'll just take about a 5 minutes break. So that would be usually my pattern. And at the same time, once I have learned something, one good approach of trying to make it a bit solid, make it really like your own knowledge, is by relating those things that you have learned to something close to you. It could be a scenario that happening earlier. There could be something that you have also learned earlier as well. Maybe it could be your friends, and also at the same time apply, if you can, apply to a situation. All right. So for example, if you want to design an infographics, you just see through the elements of infographics, take one of them, focus very well on, for example, there's so many elements, colors, icons, and so on. So take one on colors, and then focus like 20 minutes, 20 plus 5, and maybe you spend an hour. So 20 plus 5 times 2, yeah? And then see how can you apply what you have learned about colors onto pharmacy. Because in pharmacy, we don't really use red as much as perhaps blue or green, yeah? And there are also subtleties in there as well. So that would be one example I like to use for this too, yeah. And the third one is actually you can think about success criteria. These are success criteria in exams, success criteria in answering exam question, success criteria in assignment. In other words, these are called rubrics. Yeah. So I have prepared some rubrics for you to answer exams, also rubrics for you for your assignments. So from there, you know what belongs to, if you do, A, B, and C, perhaps then you can actually earn the full marks. If you do only A, perhaps you only earn 1 mark. So that would be, and to have an idea of a success criteria would be very important. Last but not least, I like to leave you with a quote. To teach is to learn twice. So what I mean here is that try to find opportunities whereby once you have learned something, you try to teach it to your classmate straight away. When you do that, what happens when you do that is that knowledge becomes yours. When you do it more often, it will solidify the knowledge. It will solidify the connection that there is in the brain. Yeah. So to teach is to learn twice. This is one of the best approaches that I learned so far, and I have been using it in my life. Yeah.